listening to the Scoop Slam Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Scoop Slam Podcast. We are back with another weekend of wrestling to talk about. Huge weekend coming out of Los Angeles for AEW Revolution. And there is a whole lot to unpack. It's like Christmas morning for us. So before we get too far into anything, as always, on the other end of the call, the co-host of the Scoop Slam Podcast, a staunch basement dweller and AEW defender, it's Ryan.
Yo, Micah. Man, ready to scoop and slam this thing tonight. I got my razor blade ready to talk about this bloodbath we had in Los Angeles. Was that Sunday?
You have your tape fist ready.
Oh yeah, I got my bucket of glass. I'm ready to scoop it and slam it. Let's get into it. It's a lot to talk about this pay-per-view. What happened?
Yeah, so obviously AEW Revolution was this weekend. Lots of people loved the beginning and most of the card, and just about everybody hated the ending. So, really, we're going to spend a lot of time on the back half of the pay-per-view because that's really where all the action and the blood and guts are, no pun intended. But before we get into that, Ryan, I know you got a champ contender cut for me this week, and I'm ready, willing, and Gable.
Yeah, Micah, since we had one of the greatest heel turns of all time a few weeks ago, John Cena turning heel on the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes, I decided to travel back in time, Micah. Let me have your thoughts on the other two historic heel turns and see how they rank up in between the Cena one and these other two. So Micah got champ contender cut. Hogan turning heel 96, Austin turning heel 2001, or Cena in this latest heel turn. Who you got?
Well, if you would have asked me that night, I would have said Cena champ. But they really have done absolutely nothing to develop that story yet. So I think it could be champ soon, but I need to see what happens, and we're going to get a little taste of that this Monday on Raw. So this would be a fun topic to revisit in a year once Cena's run is over. But for now, I've got to go champ Hogan turning heel at Bash at the Beach 96. For contender, I've got to go Cena turning heel at Elimination Chamber. And cut, I've got to go Austin turning heel at WrestleMania 2001, correct?
Yeah, WrestleMania 17. Why are you cutting Austin here?
It killed the business, man. Like it made everybody realize that like Austin wasn't this real like corporate or anti-corporate guy. It was wrestling again, and it was all fake. And I just feel like that's the real turning point for things kind of going on a downward slide out of mainstream. And obviously there's a lot of other factors. WCW closing, ECW closing. It all came to a head, but I think Austin turning heel is the big domino, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it took a lot of balls, though, to turn Austin at that WrestleMania, though.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Especially to send people home that way. But at the same time, I mean, it's going to, yeah. Well,
they did it in Texas.
I'm about to say that, and it's hard to turn a perennial babyface heel. And Austin was really already kind of a heel. Like, he was cheered, but he wasn't exactly the white meat like Hogan, Cena babyface that we've seen. And people have wanted to boo Cena so long that now that we got it, you've kind of got people like me and probably you who, if we went to a live event, I'd probably cheer Cena now because he is the heel.
Yeah, it's kind of weird though, Micah, because I feel like they chose the wrong place to turn Austin heel. And after he turned heel, he was still getting cheered. So maybe that will be like the Cena effect. Because I got a feeling that Cena's not gonna get booed. Do
I
you
don't know.
remember? Do you remember what caused? Because eventually they did start to boo Austin, but he had to team up with Triple H, and I believe I don't know if you ever saw this segment where they started attacking and brutally hitting Lita with a chair. That's what started to get them booed eventually, but it wasn't like right then and there with the heel turn. I will say the commentary on that heel turn for Austin, that was top notch. JR was in his bag back then. I still
Yeah.
remember that line where he said, "Oh, Austin shaking heel, no shaking heel, Austin shaking hands with Satan himself." That was a great line. Meanwhile, Michael Cole couldn't even get right what Cena had in his hand during the Cody Rhodes beatdown.
Well, definitely has taken a hit, but we will definitely talk about that during this upcoming Revolution review. Yeah, I don't know, and it's just different with a Hogan or a Cena because it was just these were lovable characters, not because necessarily you could relate to them, but they were always pushing through and fighting and being the light in the world. Whereas Austin really was just himself. He
Yeah,
wasn't exactly the light in the world. He was more dimming other people's light, but in an entertaining way. So I don't know.
I will say this, Micah, before we move on, but I think the Hogan heel turn is always going to be number one up there because the Cena turn it didn't really have the fans angry. It just kind of had them shocked. With the Hogan turn, they were shocked and angry. Do you remember all the trash that was in the ring? The fan that hit the ring, the
Yeah.
the promo he cut afterwards. That was I don't think anything like that would ever be topped. That Hogan turn.
I think there's so many dirt sheets now too. It's hard, but nobody expected that from Cena, even with dirt sheets. So
True.
I don't
Yeah.
know. It's definitely a different time with the internet, and so many guys turn heel and babyface before they hit the mainstream now that a lot of like you really see both sides of it before somebody even really gets to be that big to be a babyface for 20 years. Like one of the only people I can think of right now that has not been a heel that I can remember is Bianca Belair, and she might have been in NXT, and I just never saw it.
She was. Yeah. But I mean, yeah, like you said, nobody saw it. But yeah, she was a heel in NXT.
Yeah,
Right. Well, wait, Ray Mysterio.
that's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
but see, I
Ray.
just don't know that Ray could hold up with uh just with the promo ability. I don't know that Ray would be able to do that.
Dang, just turning back on Ray, huh?
No, no, no.
Hey,
I like
people were saying
Ray.
the same thing about Dom. Dom proved a lot of people wrong.
I guess that's true. But we'll
Well, he
see.
wasn't around.
Ray's a deadbeat dad.
He is a deadbeat dad. Yeah. Oh, I guess you got to. What is he really Dom's dad?
I don't know. He looks more like Eddie to me.
They did have. It did come out that Eddie was his real father. So I don't know.
Well, I think it's that time, Ryan.
Oh man, we got it.
I think we got to.
Okay.
I spent 4 hours watching it, so we better get something out of it.
Spent like
Just
4 days watching this.
well, yeah. I just meant in terms of the video was 4 hours long,
Oh, okay.
and if you showed up for the Revolution stream on TikTok, just know that Tony Khan did too, and the stream did not last that long. I made it through the Hangman match, and it got to the Mercedes match, and it was over. So, yeah, I'm not sure the next steps moving forward as far as that goes, but we may have something in the works soon. Just stay posted to our TikTok, Twitter, all that good stuff. And we'll see what happens in the next couple months, especially WrestleMania coming up. It's a big time for really anybody in wrestling that follows wrestling or even just watches it. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. But, Ryan, the first match that started off AEW Revolution, MJF versus Hangman, Adam Page in what to me should be a more marquee match, considering these are two of their biggest young stars. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of Hangman, but a lot of people love him. A lot of people say that he's the main character of AEW. And obviously, we've had a lot of hatred for MJF recently just because he has not felt the same as he did a couple years ago. And Ryan, I gotta admit, I didn't write anything for this match.
Okay. You just enjoyed it, huh?
It just felt, I don't know.
Felt like a Dynamite main event, huh?
Yes, like I watched it, but there just was no takeaway other than Hangman dropping MJF nearby on his face and breaking his nose and the tombstone on the chair. Like, I really don't remember anything from this match.
What about the teabag spot? Remember the teabag spot, though?
Okay, I only remember that because I saw a clip on Twitter.
There you go. That's probably why Hangman dropped MJF on his face, the teabag spot. But, yeah, this is Hangman's first pinfall victory on pay-per-view since, you want to guess, Micah?
Adam Cole at Revolution 2022.
It was, yeah.
Holy crap.
How'd you know?
I just had a feeling. I mean, what? Like, main program? Whoa. Didn't he beat Swerve?
Not by pinfall.
Ah, interesting. Other than that, though, I don't remember any program he's had that he's won.
Or maybe he's just in a lot of gimmick matches. Is it maybe that? They do rely on those at the pay-per-views. They rely on a lot of gimmick matches.
We got a lot to talk about.
Well, apparently not in this match.
Nah, and they kept the trend of getting MJF in and getting MJF out, which I think is good sometimes, and then other times it's like they loaded the back of the card down and the fans were sitting on their hands by the end of the show looking at their watch. So, I don't know. I don't think it was a bad match. It just felt a little lackluster to me, and it wasn't very memorable.
Was this a shock to you, as it was to me, that Hangman won?
Well, he's the main character, Ryan. He's supposed to win.
Sorry, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, guess you're right. It doesn't seem like they're done with this program. I didn't watch Dynamite tonight, so I don't know what they did, but it doesn't seem like they're done. I think
it's probably got a couple more matches in it because typically the Hangman stuff starts with one match and then it goes to a gimmick match and then it goes to a gimmick match that is less impressive than the second gimmick match, but somehow that's supposed to be the blow off.
Do you see any of these guys headlining All In coming up in July?
It really depends on who the world title is on. Maybe Hangman, but there is no way I see MJF headlining All In right now.
Wow. You're that down on MJF.
I mean, what could they do to heat him up? I don't think there's anybody left for him to work with that is a real interesting matchup. Like who? I mean, what, you want to see him work Edge? You want to see him face Swerve? I mean, I just don't know that there's anything that tantalizing for MJF to do anymore. Maybe Swerve. I think that might be the best option.
Oh, God. Was there anybody on the pre-show that he can maybe feud with?
Oh, well,
you know
Big Boom AJ.
Hey, now. Whoa. Hey, you know what? Why wasn't he on the main show?
They refused to put him on the main show. I guess to get clicks on YouTube, but I feel like I would put him on there just so more people would buy it.
Yeah, that's stupid. But Cole was on the pre-show too. Can you believe that? What a fall off.
I think I turned it on for a brief moment and looked at the YouTube comments, and somebody said Adam Cole looks like he is small, or Adam Cole doesn't look like he's big enough to wear that tank top that he has on, and that really made me laugh. And so then I started doing something else.
Oh man, what a fall off, bro! Like he got there 4 years ago. He hasn't won a singles title at all.
Has
Can you
it been
believe
4
that?
years?
It's been 4. Yes, it was 4 years
Wow.
ago. He debuted. Can you believe that? He's never won any title. How that company has so many titles. He hasn't won one. They've
Yeah,
given the title to Daniel Garcia.
that is
He was on
exactly
the
what I was about to say.
pre-show.
I
Remember
honestly forgot he was TNT champ.
remember he was the big re-signing, and he came out acting like he was Bret Hart in '96, coming out to announce that he was staying in the WWE. It was kind of like that when you remember when Daniel Garcia came out, cut that fiery promo with that tank top on. You remember that?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and everybody said that he was the next big thing.
The pillar. Where happened to all the pillars? Where are they at? Who's the
Well,
pillars again?
it was MJF who. Well, we just
At
talked
least,
about that.
at least he
Darby
made the
is
card.
Yeah, Darby's currently mountain climbing.
Could die.
Sammy Guevara is
You know,
in.
yeah, we have Mercedes to thank for that. So I appreciate you, Mercedes, for getting that jabroni off the show.
Yeah, he's in Guantanamo Bay,
As he should.
and who was the?
And they
Oh,
got
no, it wasn't Ricky. Oh, Jungle Boy.
wow.
Where is he?
Well, you
Wait. I better not say his name too loud, or they might remember that he's there. So never
yeah.
mind.
Okay, there you go.
They might start
Anyways,
using him.
anyways, he'll come back with the Bucks
Oh
after they
God.
remember what they were shredding papers for. What was that about?
There's so many questionable booking decisions, and
Okay.
we'll keep getting there because
Yeah.
boy, the main event. But all in all, Hangman MJF fine match. Nothing exactly just world stealing to me, but a good match to start the pay per view.
Yeah.
And MJF almost died. We move on to
Wish he would've.
Mercedes Moné versus Momo Watanabe for the TBS Championship.
Oh, wasn't this your favorite match on the card, Mike?
Whoa.
You didn't watch what you liked Watanabe, didn't you?
Well, this was the match that the stream got cut for me, so that already left a sour taste in my mouth, Tony.
So you boycotted this match, huh?
No, I did go back and watch it, admittedly.
Okay. Okay.
The people weren't exactly crazy about this, and the feeling was the same for me. The people got up for some spots, especially towards the end, but there is no reason, no world, no universe that this match should have been 18 and a half minutes.
Oh, it was that long, yeah. I was gonna put this was longer than the May and Tony match.
Yeah, by like 6 minutes, way longer for no reason. They keep putting Mercedes against these Joshi wrestlers that we stateside have a hard time caring about unless you already know who they are or you're willing to go watch Joshi wrestling or New Japan or whichever company she's from. I'm honestly not 100% sure, but it's just the same thing every time. They come over, they have a awful program with Mercedes because a lot of times they can't cut promos and they're only here for like a week before the show, and they have a okay to decent match and Mercedes wins and then rinse, cycle, and repeat. Like I'm sick of it. I really don't care. And people act like Mercedes is having this all-time run. But I feel like if you're somebody who just watches AEW, what about her run is really wowing you? And I've got a hot take that I have no substance to say this, but I wonder if there's a reason that people, or that she's only working with the Joshi wrestlers or the non-contracted AEW talent. I wonder if that's because she is taking a page out of Mr. Adam Copeland's book and not wanting to do any jobs to anybody. And so the locker room.
We do know she has at least somewhat of input on her creative. because they hired her WWE writer to be a part of the AEW writing team. So I don't know, Micah. I mean, is there any reason why she has that many titles and just cycles through opponents like that? I don't know. I don't know. How many Joshis has she faced?
I know.
She had Watanabe.
Okay. Yeah, and she already, which I know, like Stephanie Vacour doesn't count, but she was also a non-contracted.
You know what? You asked what she has done and what has been good about her run. She has made Stephanie Vacour a lot of money. I'll tell you that.
Well, I guess that's true.
There you go.
She faced Mina Shirakawa. She faced
The
Yuka
fans
Sakazaki.
The fans liked her, huh? Wonder why.
Well, you said it, not me. But see, that was at New Japan. That wasn't in AEW. But these are her last couple matches as per the favorite cage match. She defeated Momo Watanabe, Harley Cameron, Yuka Sakazaki, Mina Shirakawa, Chris Statlander. The Statlander one was at World's End, and it got 25 minutes. I don't remember anything about the match. Anna Jay, Hazuki, that went 25 minutes at a New Japan show. No idea.
Okay.
She beat Chris Statlander again. She beat Queen Aminata. She beat Emi Sakura at Dynamite. She defeated Hikaru Shida. She beat Momo Watanabe at another New Japan show.
Dang, she
Britt
has been
Baker.
Huh?
That's what I'm saying. And it's just like, what feud here do you remember anything about?
Now that you mention it, the Britt Baker one, I remember one promo that Britt cut, and everybody liked that. But that was the last thing I think that's it. No, the Harley Cameron stuff had the comedy, and people seem to enjoy that.
Yeah, I mean, I remember that, but I'm saying it's not.
It stunk. This match was way too long, and Momo Waka. I'm not trying to be ugly. I just don't remember her name.
Watanabe.
Okay. She threw some good kicks. I remember that. She did throw some good kicks.
She did, but the Joshi women a lot of times have a hard time, like, I don't know if it's I don't connect with their style of wrestling, but they just seem very, like, emotionless. Like, the girl just looked like she was walking around, just, like, very lackadaisical about wrestling.
It doesn't seem like she want to be there. She got the Okada syndrome.
And I don't know, man. I refuse to care because it feels uninteresting. And as much as the AEW fan base like to ride Rhea, about her title reign and how she never defends against anybody and she's just there to do promos or whatever, Mercedes defends it, but she has had just as many interesting programs as Rhea Ripley, which is zero, zilch, nada. So that's my take on Mercedes. I do think she is a talented wrestler, but I'm sick of her working with people that aren't in the company.
Didn't you see, what was it, Billy Starks taking notes during the match? What was that about?
It's the same way they had like the Ops, which is such a
God.
Up there in the rafters taking notes of the Moxley Coat match. What were they taking notes of? What not to do?
Okay, you got me there.
I mean,
quick question: who do you think is gonna take this title from Monet?
I don't have an answer for you. I would have said like Willow, but that's the one she beat for it. So I kind of hope that's not what they do.
A lot of people saying Athena at All In because it's in Texas. Somehow that's gonna make them want to put over Athena after she hasn't been on Dynamite in 4 years.
See, I will save all of my opinions about Athena until I see her again, because apparently she has really rehabbed her image in Ring of Honor, and not just as a person, but apparently people like say she's the greatest women's wrestler alive right now, and I haven't seen any of it.
Stop. Okay, let's consider who is telling us these things.
You got me there.
Okay.
Well, we'll move on to the next match, which was personal favorite of the pod, Swerve Strickland versus your man, Rick O'Shea. You ever seen the movie? Well, go ahead.
No, this is you. I'm setting you up here. Go ahead.
Have you ever seen the movie Whiplash?
No. Who's in that?
Okay, so it's the one about the drummer, and J.K. Simmons is in it, and there's this. J.K. Simmons is kind of a douchebag to the kid who's trying to learn drums, and I need somebody to be a douchebag to the guy that was playing drums during Swerve's entrance, because there was not is the beat in the room with us, because he wasn't on it.
What was the point of having drums in Swerve's entrance music? Does he have drums? Like in that song?
Yeah, it has a drum beat because it's a rap song, but it doesn't have drums like a drum set. Don't touch my drum set.
That's a deep cut.
Yeah. I put my balls on your drum set.
I didn't know if I could finish that last part.
Anyways, getting to the match, they were definitely going all out here.
Nah, man. Go back to the entrances, man.
Okay.
What's up with why did they show all these celebrities, man? Are we just in like a Johnson comparing a contest with all the celebrities that we had over these last two pay-per-views? Because we had WWE show all the celebrities at Elimination Chamber, and now in AEW, man, they had we got to show Leslie Jones in the first row, and here's what's that Asian cat? What's that? Who's that guy?
I know. Well, he's on.
Is it Ken Jeong? I think it's Ken
maybe
Jeong.
That's his name. He's from Hangover, but I don't know his name.
Yeah, they had him, and had a couple more. I think Young Gravy was there too. Did it seem like they were?
Was there?
Young Gravy was there. Yeah. Did it seem like they were showing celebrities a little too much?
Well, I don't knock WWE for it, so I can't knock AEW for it, because I get it. They're trying to make it mainstream. The only celebrities that I'm going to knock is the Queen of the Ring actresses later.
Oh, God. Okay.
Oh, my God. We'll get there.
Did you see when Nigel compared he asked, is Leslie Jones versus Nana's mom?
No, see, you text me. I didn't hear him say that.
He said, I think that's Nana's mom. And then later on in the night, Nana and Leslie Jones posed for a picture together, and he captioned something with his mom. But it was hilarious. I guess you had to be there. But
yeah, I didn't hear him say that, but I did think during the match, like, they are panning to her a lot, and I mean, you could hear her yelling on the hard cam. So
that was the only match she was there for too. She wasn't there at all for the rest of the show.
Well, do you blame her?
Yeah, well, okay. Yeah, I'd have been out too.
Towards the match, though, they were definitely going all for it. The Poison Rana that Ricochet hit on Swerve on the apron was kind of nasty to see. Swerve's neck folded up pretty bad. And speaking of Swerve's neck, there was another where Swerve dived out there and Ricochet didn't
hit a Death
catch
Valley
him.
driver.
Yeah.
And dropped him directly on his head.
That was bad. That was scary to watch. And you could tell because the announcers, it wasn't like like he hit a big move. It was like oh, God. Like, nobody in the room felt comfortable watching that. And I really don't know why Ricochet went down with it, because you could tell watching he didn't have a full grip.
It lost his balance, it looked like. I thought he was about to get... You remember when Big E took that bump directly on his head and got paralyzed,
Yeah.
or almost got paralyzed. I thought we were about to get a repeat right then and there.
I've never thought about this until right now, just because you mentioned that. But it really as a wrestler, it really has to suck to go through something like that and then see something like that happen to someone else. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Just because
Yeah.
it's thank God Swerve got up from it, but 2 inches to the right and he could have been in the same situation I'm in. And a lot of times I feel like it's very avoidable.
Oh yeah, one little slip up, man. You're putting your body in somebody else's hands, and yeah, I mean, just one little slip up like that. Yeah, it wouldn't even been Swerve's fault. It would just been Ricochet was out of position.
Yeah.
But that comes with the unnecessary risk that these guys take. Like, what was the point of that move? Why did you need to take a Death Valley driver on the outside of the ring?
Yeah. And that goes for both companies too, though. It's now AEW is willing to take a little bit more risk, obviously, but they're very much there's a lot of things that I would not be willing or comfortable to do with anybody on the other side of it nowadays. But I mean, they're professionals, so
Yeah, they have a standard to uphold in AEW. If they don't hit 1,000 big moves in a match, then the fans won't react and the fans won't shower them with praise online, and that's what they live for, is getting praised online and 5 stars from Meltzer, bro. They always do more than what is needed. Like, I can count 3 or 4 times in this match with Ricochet and Swerve that they should have just went to the finish. But
yeah.
then no, it was a kick out. Like, I think Ricochet hit the 630. Nobody's ever kicked out of the 630, bro. Ever. At least when he was in WWE, I can never remember anybody kicking out the 630. Well, Swerve kick out at 2, of course. It's just
He's killed his move.
It did, yeah, but it didn't matter. Swerve had to hit a few more big moves, and Ricochet had to hit a few more big. Wait, Ricochet kicked out of Swerve stomp too. Isn't that Swerve's finisher? The stomp kicked out of it.
That's what I wrote. I wrote down this was a good to great match that would have benefited from being 15 minutes instead of being 20 minutes. Especially the very end of the match, because they start hitting everything like we were talking about, and then Swerve hits the house call, goes for the pin, 2 count, picks him up, hits his finish, 3 count. Why not just go with the house call? And that happens all the time in AEW. I don't understand, dude. The people are ready to anticipate it, and then 2 count. Wait a minute. 3 count. It's just never as big as it would have been 10 seconds ago.
Then the crowd just looks, okay. That's it.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about more stuff like that later on. But that was just the theme of the night, bro. And it's just, you keep on telling me Swerve is such a great wrestler. I just think he can hit big moves. I just don't see great wrestler out of Swerve. I don't know, man. Maybe I just caught this match on a bad night.
I enjoyed it, admittedly, even though I do have critiques that I stated. But I did think this was a good match. I think that Ricochet has done a lot to change his image, I guess. Because I see him as a bigger player here than I did in WWE. But I don't know. I've always been a bigger fan of Swerve than you have, so that may be a reason that I like this. I would 10 times rather him still have the belt than Moxley or honestly Christian at this point.
I was thinking Prince Nana is not needed in this act anymore. If Swerve wants to be taken serious as the most dangerous man in AEW, then get rid of the clown dance into your entrance, bro.
I do agree with that. And the fact that he has to come out and peddle his coffee.
Yeah. And how is Swerve the most dangerous man if he's getting his house burned down and taking L's to hang?
I don't have an answer for you. Well, okay, you at least got to give him a little credit for bulking up whenever he was trying to get to the main event scene.
He looks skinny fat now, and his legs is too skinny too. He should have bulked up the bottom half too. He don't do legs, bro. Does nobody work on legs anymore, Micah?
Well, they're on the Adam Cole squat plan.
Hey, now I tell you, Fletcher, man, he's bulked up. Like, you want to talk about somebody that's bulked up, and he ain't shy about telling you about it either. He straight up told people when they asked him about it, oh, steroids. So I don't, maybe they need to hang out with Fletcher a little more.
Did he really say that?
He did, yeah. He said that in a tweet, bro.
I did not see that. I mean, I'm not hating because I'm somebody who is for that kind of thing.
You're an advocate for steroids, huh?
I'm not necessarily an advocate, but I'm not saying you got to do it, but if you want to do it, then I don't see any issue with it.
Micah, the size queen up in here, huh?
Oh, okay.
You gotta get big, pal.
I'm just saying what Cody Rhodes said, that the QB1 said that it's an image business. So the way you look does matter, which is kind of rich coming from him considering his dad. But
I thought you were gonna say the tattoo.
Oh, well, I guess that too. Anyways, I don't know. I enjoyed the match. I enjoy Swerve. I kind of don't want to see this anymore, though, so let's move on to the next thing. I thought it was a good conclusion. He got the jacket back, all that stuff. And that brings us to the next match, which was Brody King and Okada. And I evoked the Orange Cassidy rule, since he was not on this pay-per-view on the main show, because Excalibur was Krispy Kreme glazing Okada so much on commentary in the first 3 minutes, I couldn't continue watching this.
Yeah, they talk him up, bro, but then you watch him in the ring, like, wow, this guy stinks.
They were like, he went through the toughest tournament in North America, and he's probably the greatest tournament wrestler of all time. And it was like Messi going to Inter Miami, and he's here to compete. Like, bro, nobody cares about Okada anymore. What? Who did he beat in that tournament? Because I don't remember anything about it. And that's all anybody wanted to say whenever they started the Continental Classic. Oh, this is going to be like, oh my God, look at all these matchups, and oh, this could be so great. And they've just squashed everybody and gave it to Okada 2 years in a row. And it makes no sense now because they're doing the same thing with the International Championship. Guess what they announced on Dynamite this week? Another tournament to get to Kenny Omega, the International Champion. Like, dude, isn't that what this title was supposed to be?
If I was Okada, bro, I would be so pissed at the Bucks and Jack Perry because they left him for dead the last 6 months or so.
Oh, yeah. And I guarantee you they sold him on the idea that he could stay relevant alone on his in-ring ability, but they forgot to mention that his in-ring ability is 10 years past its shelf life.
Well, Micah, he says, you don't think that's funny?
Oh, that's hilarious, pal. When was the first Okada Omega match?
I think that's the only reason they signed him was for that match.
But wasn't that 2016?
Oh, the first match? Yeah, around that time, yeah.
That was almost 10 years ago.
I really think they only signed him because of that match. They want to recreate that match at All In.
It's not, whatever. I say it's not going to be good, and everybody's going to say, oh, it's the greatest thing ever because they're in the ring again.
It's not. Takeshita is 10 times better than Okada. 10 times.
Yeah, by
a country mile.
Yeah, the match that they had tonight, or not tonight, the match that they had at Revolution will be better than the Okada Kenny match, because all the Okada Kenny match is going to do is they're just going to tease old stuff that they did then, and they're going to hit a bunch of finishers, and they're going to kick out, and it's going to be the same thing, except it'll be 35 to 40 minutes instead of 25 that Kenny and Takeshita was.
Have you seen an Okada match stateside that you were really impressed with?
I thought his first match against Pac was fine. Like, I thought they were doing good by bringing him in and putting a title on him immediately. Like, I thought that was working, but
But
I
were you
don't remember
impressed?
anything that I've been wowed by.
Yeah, I mean, I know he was supposedly the greatest wrestler alive in New Japan, but I didn't really watch New Japan like that. So I haven't seen any of this stuff that they were talking about. I'm still waiting. And I got a feeling I'm gonna be waiting forever.
Oh,
Did you see
yeah.
that did you see that report the other day that Shinsuke's contract is running out soon? You think
I
Shinsuke is
did
gonna make
see
the jump?
that. God, I hope not.
I can see it.
Oh, he probably will, because the fans will clamor for it. And then all the AEW people will say that Shinsuke's great again, as if they haven't been saying that he's washed for the past 3 years, because he is. And he's
Oh,
not good, and he shouldn't have won the U.S. title from LA Knight.
well, 3 years. That might be a little generous there, friend.
Yeah,
Since he
well,
got here. He's the OG Okada, man. He's been coasting.
he made the blueprint.
There you go.
Well, we move on to the Hurt Syndicate versus the Outrunners, which
Oh,
another thing, just a lot to unpack. Really, probably shouldn't have been on the card. Like, that's the thing too. We get to the end, and there's 3 matches that go 25 plus. When this shouldn't have been on the card, the Okada match shouldn't have been on the card, and honestly, you could have taken the MJF or the Mercedes match off and put it all on Dynamite, and then you had a tight like 6 match card, and it could have been like 2 hours, and that would have been cool. But instead, we've got to expose one of the undercard teams and show that, in fact, the lights were too bright.
yeah, bro. These were two teams with no chemistry. And have you watched an Outrunners match before? Like an act. I know we're not colliding anymore on Saturdays, and that's where they've been stuck. So I really haven't watched any Outrunners match bell to bell. So this was the first time I've seen them. I did
Yeah,
not
me
know
too.
one of them was 5'6". I did not know that. And I did not know that their whole gimmick was just a comedy act. Is this really what the AEW fans were clamoring for?
There's no
The
way one of them's
Outrunners?
5'6".
Bro, I swear he was. Shelton looked like Andre the Giant right next to, what was it, Turbo Floyd? Is that the name of that guy?
No, I think Turbo is the taller one. I think Truth Magnum, because Turbo was
Okay.
the same height as Shelton. Truth Magnum was a little shorter. I don't think he was 5'6".
Bro, he had to be. He looked like Johnny Gargano.
Oh no, come
I'm
on.
just,
At least he's bulked
Micah.
up.
No, man. Give me FTR any day of the week. I can't
Well,
believe the AEW fans have been cheering for this comedy jobber tag team. This is the problem with the fans of AEW, man. The ironic wrestling fans. They cheer for these mean teams and these mean characters like Orange Cassidy thinking they deserve a spot on the card because they're so entertaining. Meanwhile, it's goofy, man. Nobody likes this. Who actually? They were quiet during this match. The fans were.
I have to admit, I'm somewhat entertained by them.
Oh, get out of here! Stop it. You were entertained
Okay,
by these jabronis? They look
because
lost out there.
yes, at the beginning of the match, honestly, it was fine. Like, the majority of the match was not that bad. The goofiness, the only thing that gets me is the little team up elbow drop or whatever, but I can't really hate on that when The Rock does his thing. Now, obviously, that's apples and oranges because The Rock is the most over wrestler of all
Come on,
time.
The Rock, get out.
No,
What the heck, man? Come on.
it's apples to oranges, but I'm saying I can get with
It's
one or
apples
two
to
goofy
the Grizzlies.
moves.
Go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
I don't even know what you said.
Okay. Let's just move on.
Anyways, they got lost out there, but
They did.
I didn't hate their act necessarily. I just don't think they're ready for this spot. And also, I have to give props because I think Bobby and MVP and all them, they have some pull and creative because they also did not let these guys get over on them. They dominated most of the match, as they should have. So for that, I did not think this was the most egregious defense of the night.
They shouldn't have went on as long as they have. Why was this spot not reserved for the Guns? Why didn't the Guns get a pay-per-view match? But these jabroni tag team got a pay-per-view match, man. I just don't understand. Good point. I don't understand this. How does that make any sense? At least the Guns would have had a better match. And you know what? The Guns should have had a more competitive match. They gave this jobber tag team 10 minutes, and it was back and forth. And Shelton Benjamin literally had to slow down during this match to match the speed of the short jabroni Magnum throughout this whole match, bro. I just did this. This is when the pay-per-view started to take a turn for me. I was starting to get a little ill.
Shelton definitely, I think, knew that they were moving too fast for them, because if you go back, just watch Shelton's face in the last half of the match. You start to see him kind of smirking to himself, and the real egregious spot was whenever the guy climbs up and he can't, he's holding Shelton's arm to basically do the tightrope arm drag or whatever, and he didn't know how to get up there. So he literally asked Shelton to raise his other hand so the guy could push himself up onto the top rope, and then they let go of each other's hand. And then he did his tightrope arm drag. And I was like, okay. It fell off the rails toward the end. And I don't necessarily hate them, but there's no reason, like you said, that the Guns shouldn't have been here, because they had a really good promo segment against them, and the Guns are actually one of their best tag teams in AEW.
Well, they don't make people laugh enough, Micah. We gotta have more comedy in this pay-per-view.
Well, the hee hee ha ha begins next, because we got the Hollywood ending for the AEW Women's Championship. Toni Storm versus Mariah May. Ryan, I'm chomping at the bit to hear you talk about this match.
Oh, man. Micah, I don't think I've ever seen another wrestler get it to the degree Toni Storm does. Everything in this feud was perfect and genuinely advanced pro wrestling as a legitimate form of art. Actual comment, Micah. That's an actual comment.
Advanced pro wrestling?
to a legitimate form of art. Were you seeing the glaze for this match?
Oh, yeah. Oh, everybody said it was 5 stars. They said it was the greatest match of the year so far.
Yeah.
I saw that Toni Storm is one of the greatest characters in pro wrestling in the past 20 years.
Her pretending to be a 1920s starlet and acting like a semi-lesbian has made me stop being embarrassed to tell people I'm a wrestling fan. I don't know if you knew about this. It truly is the greatest character of all time.
I don't get it. It feels like one of those things that I would be embarrassed if somebody saw me watching that.
Bro, I was just talking about this. The ironic wrestling fan. This is the stuff they love, man.
Well, let's get to the match, because
it was a spectacle. It wasn't really a match. It's a series of gratuitous violence and absurdities and a billion kickouts, glass, tables, a lot of blood. And I mentioned blood. Was that too? Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you, as to preface this whole thing, I like hardcore wrestling. I like street fights.
I love blood. Oh, Micah.
I don't mind the blood. I don't mind, like, one of my favorite matches of all time, and I consulted this match before I gave my review because I felt like maybe I was being unfair. One of my favorite matches of all time, Edge versus Mick Foley, WrestleMania 22. Great hardcore match. Didn't stick around too long. Did everything it needed to do. Got Edge over. All that good stuff.
Yeah.
And at the beginning of this, I really did not hate it. I thought the hot start made sense. I thought
you thought a power bomb off the stage and a kick out. That made sense too.
well, the match just started. So
Okay, the match just started. Let me drop you on this concrete real quick.
well, okay, I guess the thing was I knew there was going to be more egregious things to come. So I was like, I really feel like this table is not going to be.
I agree with that. Yes. All right.
So they moved on, and I thought Luther took probably the best manager bump I've seen since Heyman. That did honestly make me laugh.
Like Mariah tripped up too, trying to deliver a drop kick.
Yeah. Well, she probably hesitated. I mean, who wants to take a drop, or who wants to give a drop kick and then fall on that stage? But I tell you, really, well, yeah, I guess that's true. It really went off the rails for me at the pile driver on the stairs, and then I was like,
I'll tell you when it went off the rails. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say the pile driver is a transitional move, and
of course,
in the Edge of Mick Foley match, he hit a pile driver and got a 2 count. So,
all right.
Maybe I've just got to stop being so critical about pile drivers. However, Toni is also maybe 160 pounds on her neck, on stairs. A little egregious.
You're just being sexist, Micah.
Oh, yeah.
You're just being sexist. You don't want to see women's hardcore matches? You hate AEW, you fed shield. You don't have a thing for blood? You don't like women's
hardcore matches.
No, I don't. Go ahead, man. I hate to just step on your high spots. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, because I need to see what you thought about this time.
Okay,
I still got more to unpack.
Yeah, I thought that we started getting a little ridiculous. They brought out the champagne bottles in a bucket, and then Mariah May and Toni Storm proceeded to tape up their fist. Let each other tape up their fist, and then willingly dip their hands in a bucket full of broken glass. Your thoughts, Micah? Now, this is supposedly this was a homage to what Ian Rotten and who was Ian Rotten's brother? I don't know. His brother and Ian Rotten, they had a death match in ECW in like the mid 90s where the match was they had both their fists taped and they glue glass to their taped up fist. But still though, it was garbage then, it's garbage now.
Well, see, I have heard, I think his name's Axel Rotten.
There you go.
I have heard of, I believe it's a Taipei
death match. Yeah,
yes.
That's right. Yeah. I remember seeing that on the Rise and Fall of ECW, that DVD that came out in 2005. They were talking about this match, and they were all roasting that match. Even back then, they were roasting that match. So, yeah, they want to pay homage to that match. I don't know. For the sickos, I guess.
My thing is, and I told Hannah this the night that I watched it, it was just so, I hate cooperation in wrestling. And that goes with the Shelton Benjamin Outrunners thing. Like, don't slap me in the face with how fake it is. Let the Queen of the Ring actress tell me how fake it is. No, but in all seriousness, if they wanted to do this spot, there's such an easier way to do it. Like, so easy. Have Mariah grab the bucket. Okay. Go to tape her fist up. She goes to swing at Toni. Toni hits her with something. Mariah's down for a minute because she hits her with like a baseball bat or something across the stomach. Toni goes over to the bucket, tapes her fist up, dips it in glass. Now we both have taped glass fist, which may still be a little ridiculous, but then it's not as cooperative. But when you both grab buckets on opposite ends of the ring and do the same thing at the same time, I know that this was all choreographed.
Yeah. Yeah. And not even that, Micah. The worst part of it is when they actually started swinging with their hands, and it looked so fake and phony that they had to duck at like 2 miles per hour, and the fists swinging were going even slower. And then Tony Schiavone comments when Toni Storm supposedly hits Mariah May with her fist. He said, "Oh, he caught her. She caught her in the mouth." And then Mariah May rolls out the ring, Micah. You think she comes up with a busted lip? Oh, no. Somehow her forehead is bleeding. How the heck does that work?
Good old Tony Schiavone, man. He's always there to pat you on the back to let you know what you're watching.
No, but he was right, though. She did get hit in the mouth. Why did she start bleeding from her forehead?
Because, and I don't know. Toni was bleeding a gusher. Like, that's probably one of the worst blade jobs I have seen in a long time.
Yeah, and man, I don't care. Call me a male chauvinist pig. I don't like when the women bleed like that, bro. I just don't like to see that.
Like, not at all, even.
I just don't like to see it, man. I don't know. And especially if you're gonna do it, at least make that the only match that has it. We got so much blood in this whole entire pay-per-view.
Yeah, I think that definitely weighed it down whenever you have Ospreay and Fletcher kind of do the same thing, and that's what sucks when you have two stipulation matches like this on the card. Was I feel like even though they got a good reaction for that match, the reaction would have been that much more if they didn't just see these two women practically kill each other. And what really aggravates me, and it's not just hardcore matches, but it's just wrestling as a whole right now, because even the CM Punk Seth Rollins match, which I still enjoyed, there's so much finisher kick out fest. Like, that has polluted wrestling, dude.
Yeah. More so on the big AEW pay-per-views or any AEW pay-per-views. It comes to a point, bro, where you just don't care. Like, when you see the third or fourth big move kick out, you just don't care. Like, you're not on the edge of your seat anymore. You're kind of slumped back. I don't know, man. Maybe we need to go into these pay-per-views with a different mindset.
Well, I try and go into this, and that's why I went and watched the Edge and McFoley match, because I was like, a lot of times something I get, like, in my head about, like I said, is pile drivers, or why is that under the ring? And then before we did this podcast,
there's a lot of that. Yeah, happened throughout the night.
Well, but then in the Edge and McFoley match, they had cookie sheets and
they had a taser. Sign. We had a taser here, and they didn't use it.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
You can't bring that out and not use it.
So, like, I really try and come in with an open mind, but, dude, Toni hits a Storm Zero on a chair, kick out. Then Mariah May hits 2 Maydays, kick out. And there was probably glass. On glass. And there's probably 5 to 6 finishers in this match. I went back and watched the Edge and McFoley match. It went 3 minutes longer. There were 3 finishers hit the entire match. Edge hit a spear. McFoley was wrapped up in barbed wire, so it really didn't even count. He speared McFoley at the end of the match through the flaming table, and Foley got the mandible claw with barbed wire on it on Edge, and then moved it to Lita. Those were the only finishers the entire 15-minute match. But it's a crutch. If you're not using weapons, you're using your finisher. There's no moves anymore in hardcore wrestling. It's just about the objects or the big finishers. That's it. And that drives me insane. It's still supposed to be a fight.
And then you got like Kyle Fletcher got stabbed in the head with a screwdriver. And then the match kept on going for another 10 minutes. But poor old Christian can come out there fresh as a daisy and get choked out in 2 minutes. Like, make that make sense.
It was insane how fast Christian came in and lost that match.
We'll talk about that later, but yeah, I don't know.
We'll move on because we still got 3 matches to get to, but I enjoyed some of this, like the beginning, but towards the end, it just started going off the rails for me, like kind of all of these matches did, and I think a lot of people think way more highly of this match than it really should be, and I'm sure it's going to get 5 stars in the Observer, and everybody said it, and I guarantee people are going to say it was one of the matches of the year, but I haven't been interested in the feud. I think the match could have benefited from not doing so much finisher spam, not being so obvious cooperation, but did it get Toni more over? Maybe. But now who is she going to go against?
I don't even think you got her more over. The fans she has is the fans she has, bro. Like, she came in second in the Observer to the worst gimmick of the year, and she came in first for the gimmick of the year. Like, I don't think you're going to win that. You're not going to win that other side over. The people that hate her still hate her. The people that love her still going to love her and glaze her no matter what she does. And the people with blood fetishes hate really well during this Mariah May Toni Storm.
I don't know. Maybe I need to go rewatch it again, but
you don't like cinema, Micah. That's what it is. You don't know real cinematography. Did you see the great cinematography at the end when Toni Storm was laying on Mariah May's bosom, all in blood under the spotlight, while the end was plastered all over the screen? That's cinema. You Bloodline shields are looking real dumb right now.
Oh, I know that one sent you over the edge this weekend.
This match might have done it, bro. I will say I was watching this match with a newer fan, and she seemed to enjoy it. So, props to them for that, I guess.
I just don't know what the average person thinks about it.
It's more of a spectacle. I give it that. I mean, but if you see it in every match, it starts to lose its luster because we got a lot of hardcore spots during this whole pay-per-view.
Yeah.
It doesn't work when there's 7 hardcore matches on a card.
So, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we'll rewatch it at the end of the year for best or worst match. But I don't know. It just didn't do it for me personally. But we move on to Omega versus Takeshita, and that was for the International Championship. Now, this also was pretty long, and we're running a little long, so I think this was probably the least egregious of the trio of 30-minute bangers that we got.
Yeah.
I thought the sling blade that Takeshita hit on the apron was a really nice move, as well as dropping Kenny's stomach first onto the side of the table. It's a really inventive way to use a table that doesn't necessarily disqualify you because he didn't go through the table, even though later on we'll see why DQ doesn't matter.
Yeah, I was about to say, ain't no DQs in this company. What are you talking about?
And I go back to, this is the best that you're going to get from Kenny and an Okada match, because Takeshita is 10 times better than Okada, and I don't feel like that should be a crazy statement to say out loud, and I really wish Takeshita had a different manager that wasn't goofy Don Callis.
Yeah, I agree with that. Man, same thing we've been saying all night. Finisher kick out fest. Many times in the match, I thought, man, if they just go home after that, that would be great. But then, kick out at 1, and the crowd go insane. And then they'll go on for another 5 minutes. And then a surprise roll-up in the match. And then the fans are just looking at each other like, huh? That's it? And, yeah, that's what happened in this match. Probably my second favorite match of the night,
I think, honestly, this was my favorite match of the night. I thought it was really good, and it's probably one of my favorite Omega matches that I've seen. Just because, like, yes.
Wow.
Did you say how or
No,
wow?
I was saying wow. Wow.
I just think the finisher kick out was not as egregious as the Okada matches or the Ospreay matches. Like, there were some big moves, and yes, they kicked out, but I don't mind Kenny Omega kicking out at 1 and hulking up. I mind Daniel Garcia and Wheeler Yuta and Jack Perry kicking out at 1 and hulking up and no selling finishers.
Which they do.
Exactly. Kenny's been here, though, and he's a former world champion, so, like, if you're going to do it with him. If it wasn't in every other match, then it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But when you see it all the time, it loses its luster, and it's like, well, anybody can do it. But as a standalone match, I really enjoyed this. I liked the finish because it caught me off guard, whereas normally you got to hit 15 finishers and then they go home, or you get hit with a one-wing angel.
But I know we run along, Mike, but it just felt like a cheap ending because you hit so many finishers. Maybe if they would have went like 10 less minutes in this match, then maybe I could have tolerated that surprise crucifix. Was it a crucifix pin? Or was it a roll up? Yeah, okay. But maybe I could have tolerated it a little better. But yeah, man, if you're going 30 minutes, don't end in a roll up. What kind of garbage is that?
Well, okay, I like the build up to the roll up because they were both kind of hitting finishers and then they were both trying to roll each other up. It's definitely better than just like one guy's getting beat the dog piss out of after 30 minutes and then, roll up, I win. Like, I did prefer the way that this went compared to like the Toni Storm Mariah May ending with a roll up.
Okay, all right. I'll give you that.
And one last thing.
Yeah.
Actually, two last things.
Oh,
First,
okay.
I think seeing Mox and Cope in the main event scene makes me realize that I would rather see Kenny Omega in the main event scene, which takes a lot coming from me and coming from this show. Because we have not been the biggest fan of the Bucks and Kenny, but Kenny by himself, I find myself interested in, and I find him way more interesting than the two competing for the world title. And lastly, people talk about Pat McAfee like he is Satan incarnate.
Yeah.
Have y'all heard AEW's announce team? Like, please, for the love of God, they are so insistent about, oh my God, Kenny Omega's the greatest wrestler of all time. And then they're going back and forth with Don Callis in this match and in the next match. And it was driving me insane. I put it on mute after a while. Genuinely put it on mute. I could not stand to listen to Excalibur and Tony Schiavone whack it under the table sitting next to Don Callis.
That's how you really feel, huh?
Dude, I don't get it. They hate Pat McAfee because he's goofy and he tries to get himself over. And well, what's different? What's different next to these guys? These guys do the same thing. They just glaze Kenny, and this is the greatest match I've ever seen. And oh my God, Kenny Omega. And I like Kenny, but dude, I don't need you to tell me how good he is. I need you to tell me what is happening.
Well, you need to study cage match better. That's probably what it is, Mike. You study cage match, you'll start to enjoy and appreciate the expertise of the professor, Tony Schiavone, and Excalibur.
I really should have taken notes because it was yesterday when I watched that match, and now I can't remember everything that they said.
Don
But
Callis stinks too. I know you. I think you were praising him earlier, but yeah, Don Callis sucks.
no,
Don Callis.
no, he's so goofy. It drives me insane.
Yeah, he does he need to be on commentary? Why is he on
That too.
commentary if he's the manager?
And they give it. They do it with like 4-man booths for no reason.
And poor old Ian Riccaboni's never to be seen from him. Yeah, we got to deal with Excalibur for 5 hours on pay per view.
Yeah.
They have a rotating commentary team. Why not rotate Excalibur out there?
Oh no. That's PWG's finest, pal. Well, speaking of the finest, it's time for the steel cage match: Will Ospreay versus
Speaking of
Kyle
marks.
Fletcher.
Speaking of marks, yeah, you got 2 marks in the ring now.
First, I thought the Swerve's entrance was the worst of the night, but what was this Skrillex 2012 rave intro bullcrap that Swerve or that Will Ospreay came out to?
Oh, yeah, you know what? I had this on. I had the entrance on background, so I didn't know what was going on. But describe the entrance.
Optimus Prime and another Transformer procreate.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right.
It was just bad, and it was like,
What was he saying?
well,
He was saying
I don't-
something.
yes, that's right. I can't remember what he was saying, but it was like, get ready, bro. Get ready, bro. Get ready, bro. And it just kept speeding up, and I was like, oh my God. Nails on a chalkboard. And meanwhile, Kyle Fletcher's standing at the top of the cage, probably getting ear raped by this garbage because he's closer to the speakers. Anyways, the match. There's definitely a lot to get to here.
Yeah.
Why, Ryan? I'm fine with the blood. Why do we all have to lick the blood or bite the people that are bleeding or lick the screwdriver that I just stabbed the guy with or lick the cage that I just ran his bloody face across? Like, dude, the damage that Hangman and John Moxley have caused to the hardcore wrestling scene in mainstream wrestling promotions, I don't know that it can ever be fixed.
Well, hold up now. Don't give Swerve a pass either. Don't give him a pass.
Him too. Yeah, matter of fact. I just remember Hangman being the one that licked it up and then spat it out or whatever.
He drank it, pal. Like, oh,
yeah.
fuck. Stood there.
Like, that's disgusting. That doesn't show me how brutal you are. It's disgusting.
Yeah, it seemed a little, I wasn't surprised. And then they had a spot later on in the match where I think Fletcher bit the screwdriver or something like that. I don't know. It was just.
Yeah, he stabbed Ospreay in the back of the head, or I say stab in quotation marks because you could obviously see it didn't hit anybody. But
yeah,
he like started licking both sides of it and like rubbing it on his tongue. Like, dude,
is it a sexual thing? Is this for the? Are they doing this for like is this the dog whistle for the? For blood fetish people, Micah? I don't know.
I think the people that like this kind of thing are the people that like the Terrifier movies and they like the gore.
Hey, hold up now. I ain't gonna let you know. Hold up. I like the first Terrifier movie.
It's incessant gory garbage. I like blood. I don't like licking it or just being like disgustingly like gross for no reason. Like, who is moved by that? We move to the screwdriver inclusion, which they always have to put in there for no reason at all. Because Don Callis used it one time, but anybody with a brain, if you stabbed someone with a screwdriver, you could very easily kill them, especially if it was in the top of their head, like Kyle Fletcher stabbed Ospreay.
And they're supposed to be grown adult men too. I mean, grown adult man swings a screwdriver at you, Mike, and hits you in the forehead, you should be impaled, right?
Oh yeah, like especially like just like you said, grown men that are on steroids, Kyle Fletcher, and like it would go through your skull. It would at least
Yeah.
break your skull. So,
Well, does that account for fighting spirit, Micah?
oh,
Does that
you
account?
know what? I forgot the fighting
There you go.
spirit ability has the ability to regrow bones.
There you go.
Um, so I didn't factor that one in.
There you go.
Also, the crowd did not care about this largely for the first 20 minutes because they had already seen all this with the Tony Storm stuff, and they just saw Omega and Takeshita. So they were dead. Like, they were so dead by the time this match came, and they got up for the end. But why? Like, Tony and Mariah, and then Omega Takeshita, and then they should have put the Hurt Syndicate on, and then these other two matches, something to cool down. But to have 4 matches back to back where it's just an all out sprint that, I mean, you just see literally everything happen. Like, what did you expect these people to do for 2.5 hours? Be jumping up in the air?
Well, maybe that's why they hit 1,000 finishers. They were trying to get a reaction out of some type of reaction out of the crowd.
Oh, I don't doubt it. And I'm sure you love the Spanish Fly off the top.
Bro, I'm completely done with Osprey, man. I had such high hopes for him, but he just does way too much. And I just don't like his style, man. It just feels too anime like. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It just feels too fake, and he tries to put in way too much stuff. Him and Osprey and Fletcher were literally jerking themselves off throughout this whole match. Just look how many moves we can hit. Look how many times we can get up off big moves. I don't like that type of style, man. Does that account for a great wrestling match in 2025?
I don't know. I think I'm also out on Osprey at this point. I just
Why
it's
does
not.
great why does great wrestling matches nowadays have to sacrifice selling, man?
Oh, we'll get to the biggest sacrificer of selling next.
Because I know, I know that Undertaker and Shawn Michaels had a lot of kick out finisher spam in their WrestleMania 25 match, but it just worked. It worked. And this didn't work for me, man. Undertaker didn't hit Shawn Michaels with a tombstone. Shawn didn't just pop back up 10 seconds later, you know?
Well, that and when Undertaker fought, let's say, Batista at No Mercy, and I don't even know if that's a real match that ever happened. I'm just paraphrasing here. That match probably was 15 minutes, and they probably hit like 2 Batista bombs and 2 tombstones, and that was it. But the problem nowadays is everybody has to get such a long match. And by the end of it, because you've been building this match up for 20 minutes, you don't have anything left to do. A headlock takeover feels too simple to do at the end of the match. So now it's just everybody thinks they're at the level that they can kick out of 45 finishers. So like I said earlier, when Kenny kicks out at 1, it makes his spot less impressive because Kyle Fletcher has won 1 singles title in AEW, and he just went 30 minutes with Osprey kicking out of literal. Like, you're not there yet. Taker and Shawn were legends of the game. They've been wrestling for 30 years on mainstream television. The people knew who they were. Yeah. And I give him props. He's bulked up. I think he's done a lot for his image. I think he can be a big star in the future, genuinely. But he's just not there yet.
Yeah, he ain't there yet. And I think I think Osprey just went to TK one day and said that he wanted to program his best friend. That's what I really think this came down to. Because, I mean, like you just said, he has bulked up. He's good in the ring, but he doesn't have a personality, man. Like, did you really care about this blood feud that they had?
No. And I
What did
didn't
they?
even mention
What
the
were they
fact that
feuding
Mark
over?
Davis was in the middle of it.
He started bleeding too for some reason.
Yeah.
What was
There
this
was
feud about?
no reason for that.
What was this feud about? I really don't remember.
Because Ospreay got kicked out of the Don Callis family, and Kyle turned on Ospreay to be with the Don Callis family, and yeah. I don't know. I just Ospreay's not for me, and I know people love it. They love to share the clips. They love to say that Ospreay's the greatest wrestler in the world, and he can be. Like, he very well could be the greatest wrestler in the world to me.
But he's a great athlete. It
Yes.
seems like he's very talented what he does, but it just the overly choreographed anime type style of wrestling. It just isn't for me, and I don't think it's for you, Mike. I think, did you see Will Ospreay in that interview with Chris Van Fleet? Yeah, I think it was Chris Van Fleet. Yeah, he said that he's a specific type of ice cream, and he knows that it's not gonna be everybody's type of flavor. I think he was. I mean, he was straight spitting right there. Yeah, he is right. He's not everybody's type of flavor. He's not the greatest wrestler in the world.
No. And I just follow the philosophy with wrestling that less is more. And when you go to the Elimination Chamber, and I see all these people online talking about, wow, dude, Punk and Cena dialed the clock back like it was 2011, and they had a great sequence, and everybody was biting on the fakes, and they were doing simple wrestling moves. And then you see the same people glazing this, and I'm like, dude, they have to hit each other with like literal divine smite levels of attacks to kill somebody or to just to pin somebody for a 3 count. And I'm like, do y'all not see that you can get somebody to care about so much less? And that's just what I'm looking for, because I know with an Ospreay match, I know it's going to go 20 minutes, and I know until he hits about 5 hidden blades that it's not over. So I can't bite on the fakes. And that's the key to wrestling, biting on the fakes.
The brain busters through the chairs, the Styles Clash through the thumbtacks. What? I don't know what it takes to beat Kyle Fletcher. Does it take a gun to beat Kyle Fletcher?
Take
You
the
literally have
steroids
to.
away.
Well, there you go. Never mind. I just don't understand, bro. Like the Styles Clash, that was the most egregious of the night, I think. A
And
Styles
people,
Clash through thumbtacks.
it'll be a transition move soon.
Oh my god. I thought I saw it all when Tombstone, when MJF hit Adam Page with a tombstone through a chair. I thought that was okay. That's a little ridiculous. But then we got a Styles Clash through literal thumbtacks, bro.
So, yeah, wasn't a fan of that one. Thought they did way too much. Thought it went very long. But speaking of things that neither of us were a fan of, the main event for the AEW World Championship, Jon Moxley versus Adam Copeland. Boy, oh boy.
Yeah. You remember when Edge went to AEW so he could wrestle all those young up and coming talents?
Yeah.
Where they at?
Well, what do you mean, man? Moxley's like 38.
Okay. All right. Was that code word for not doing any jobs ever?
Oh, I got some stats for you here, Ryan.
Okay, hit me with them.
So, since his return in 2020,
okay,
Adam Copeland has only been pinned 8 times.
Okay. 8 times, huh?
And not a single one was clean. And listen, I gotta give credit. This is at Peps_wrestling on Twitter. They went and did the research. Number 1, low blow by Randy before the punt kick. Number 2, Jey Uso attacked Cope and helped Reigns to finish Cope. Number 3, Seth Rollins distracted Cope, which led Reigns to beat him. Number 4, low blow by Seth Rollins before the stomp. Number 5, Finn Balor attacked Cope and helped Austin Theory to win. Number 6, Mother Wayne turned on Cope and helped Christian win. Number 7, cash-in victory. Number 8, Malachi used the black mist when the ref was distracted.
No, hold up, my dude. Let me fact check this jabroni. I got my own stats too. Edge did get pinned one time. It was in a triple threat match. Do we count that?
By the GOAT.
AJ Styles. He got pinned by AJ in the triple threat match. Does that count?
Oh, see, I thought you were talking about because Roman stacked him and Daniel Bryan up and pinned both of them.
Yeah, okay. I guess you can count that too, right?
See, I didn't know if that counted because he was technically on bottom. But if you're, I guess if we're counting triple threats, then yes. Two clean pinfall losses to Roman Reigns and AJ Styles and no one else.
In 1,870 days of being an active competitor since he's been back, which is actually longer than his original main event run, if you can believe that, because he became main eventer in 2006, and by 2011 he was done. He came back in what? Early 2020? Yeah, early 2020. And we in 2025 there, pal.
So let's get to the match now that we know that Adam Hogan don't do any jobs, brother.
Adam Belay.
Moxley is so unbelievably lame and just uncool.
What happened to him?
I don't know what you mean what happened. He's always been that way to me.
No, stop it. When he was Ambrose, he wasn't like this.
No, I didn't like Ambrose either. I actually liked Jon Moxley at the beginning of AEW the best.
But I don't remember him popping up after everything and not selling stuff. He does that a lot here.
Oh, the entire match.
But he didn't used to do that. Mike, I swear. He did not used to do that. He had some pretty good matches as Ambrose in the mid 2010s.
I'm not even necessarily talking about that. I'm just talking about like at the beginning of the match, he does his little like neck roll or whatever, and then he spins around and flips Cope off. Like, dude, you're grown. You are 38. This is what like a 9-year-old would think is cool.
Yeah, he did do that.
And then they moved to these stupid elbow strikes. And this was the moment that I put the match in 1.5 speed. Because this went for so long and they all look like crap. Why? Like, I don't understand. This is every Moxley match. Just
someone did the math online and they said it was 73 elbow strikes that they had in the exchange. Can you believe that?
I do actually, yeah, because it was long in 1.5 times speed.
Okay.
And honestly, they were moving at regular pace in 1.5 times speed, which also speaks a lot to the main event scene in AEW right now. The fact that these two are the ones on top who have no business being here. And I, on this podcast, have literally since the start said that Jon Moxley sucks. And everybody wanted to blow him when he took the belt from Punk, when Punk was out. And, oh, he's the savior of AEW, and he's the heart and soul. And like Punk said, Punk will be the dollars and cents. And you see why nobody cares about Moxley, because the entire arena sat on their hands for this match because it sucked. And everybody online said it sucked. Because Moxley is stale, this makes no sense. That's a world title match and didn't even have a world title there.
It's crazy. I have never, ever seen the AEW fan base, the actual basement. I've never seen them actually bury something like they are burying the Death Riders. Like usually they'll say stuff is great, even though it's not great. They'll defend it to the death, but they do not mess with this Death Rider stuff. How insane is that? That this angle turned the fan base.
It has somehow united AEW and WWE fans on the fact that they both think this sucks.
I thought I would never see the day. I don't think anybody, this angle started off pretty promising because we were coming off the comedy takeover with the Bucks and Okada and Jungle Jack. We're coming off that, so we were praying for something different, Micah. And John Moxley said he was tired of the crap on AEW television. He thought that his company was weak and they needed to be reshaped. But we just didn't know that it was going to be reshaped into this image. It has completely killed the main event scene.
And I think it somehow turned Punk and Brock Lesnar's image around because now everybody's like, man, maybe Punk and Brock were onto something by not letting this guy's ideas go through for their match. And how could you blame them?
This has done a lot of damage to Moxley's legacy, man.
Oh, horrible!
Like, have you ever been a fan of a UFC fighter and they just hung around a little too long and it just ruins your perception of them? Have you ever had that?
Yeah, well, I saw basically the downfall of Anderson Silva.
Yeah, this is kind of how I feel, man. I loved Ambrose in the Shield, and to see what he's doing now, it's just so sad, man. His in-ring work is so sad. He doesn't get to a point in his promos. The crowd doesn't react. And I have never, ever heard an audience audibly groan at the end of a main event title match like they did in Los Angeles for Revolution. I've never seen that.
That was the cherry on top of the entire event, was the choke, and he lets out, and the entire crowd went, oh, that was all you heard.
Can you imagine if Christian would have just made the pin while he was in that choke? That would have been such a great finish. And everybody would have been protected.
Yeah, because Copeland got hit with 2 finishers. Moxley wasn't going out, and Christian would have gotten kind of a cheap pin, and then the world title isn't on Moxley anymore. But
that's not where
I mean, honestly, I don't know that I want to, like, I think the best case scenario was for the title to just be vacant after this match.
Just reset all the titles.
Yes, just forget that this match happened.
You managed to pull a WCW 2000 belt become vacant.
It might help.
You thought the best outcome to this match is just a sinkhole just to appear?
Yes, open up all and eat all.
Hey, but the Lakers wouldn't have anywhere to play.
Oh, good point. Next year, have it in the Intuit Dome.
There you go. Oh, we could just take over their place. They can have the crypto.
Oh, okay. I like that idea.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you want to walk us through the ending portion real quick, Micah? Because we're running a little long.
Well, so I had first put on here, Christian comes out and then clocks Edge with the briefcase. And that's somehow not a DQ, even though they've talked about how the match is a non-DQ match. The whole, it's a disqualification match. Like Moxley was almost disqualified for bringing a chair in.
It's a regular singles match that has rules and regulations. But let me pause, Micah. I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you paid attention. But Bryce Remsburg is one of the worst referees out there because when he makes his covers, when he counts, he doesn't look at the guys. He doesn't look at the shoulders. He was looking the opposite way when he was making that count at the end of the match. Like I don't know how they have so many bad referees under contract.
I don't reckon I've ever really paid attention to that.
Watch him next time. Watch what he does when he makes his pins.
All right. I will on the next episode of Dynamite because we'll have to review that this week.
Oh God.
So then Christian comes out and he cashes in, and then, like, what did he do? He came in, he hit him with a kill switch. Copeland kicked out. He hit
Of
him with
course.
another kill switch. And Moxley then comes in there and gets him in the Bulldog choke. And everybody's like, no! But not even in like a, no, not the bad guy winning. Like, oh, please don't let this guy still be world champion. And Christian crawls over, puts his hand on Cope. The fans got up for that because they wanted Christian to win. And then he pulls him off. Moxley pulls Christian off of him, so the pin's interrupted. And then they fight for like another 45 seconds, and the crowd went quiet, I think because they didn't expect that to be the end. And then Remsburg calls it. And like you said, you just hear a, oh. Like, if you watch nothing from this pay-per-view, please go watch the last, like, 5 minutes and just hear that crowd reaction because they were miserable that Jon Moxley won.
Well, how could you not be, bro? You sat in that arena for 7 hours.
Yeah.
That's the finish you got.
And now, not to play spoiler, but they're running that back next week. The worst AEW title match of all time, and they're redoing it next week.
No, you're kidding.
Yes.
What?
Yes. And
What-
it's
was
for
that-
the title.
Is that official? How? Why?
I don't know. That's just what they put out today. I didn't watch Dynamite, so I don't know how we got there, but I'm sure we'll talk about it on the next review. But yeah, all in all, I enjoyed the Kenny Takeshita match. I enjoyed parts of the Toni match. The middle Hurt Syndicate stuff, all that it just felt like unnecessarily on the card. And I enjoyed Swerve versus Ricochet, but everything else on this card was not worth it. I'm sorry. I know everybody's going to talk great about that Ospreay Fletcher match, but it just went for so long. They did everything possible under the sun other than just actually killing each other. And it was topped off with the worst AEW title match in history. Worse than that stupid exploding death match one they had a couple years ago.
You forgetting about the OC versus Moxley?
Oh, well, I didn't watch that, remember?
You did bury it, though.
Well, yeah, but that's just because of the involved combatants. But
Okay, all right.
all in all, Ryan, I've been wanting to keep a log of this, so we'll start from here on the year. But give me your best match from the card and a rating out of 10.
Best match? Man. That's tough. I'll probably go the Cope match as the best match on the card.
Are you serious?
I'm being serious, bro. I mean, it wasn't flashy. It was slow, but I mean, at least they didn't kick out of everything. And rating, I give it a dud. Can we give things duds?
Just a straight dud.
Yeah, it's a dud, bro. Like, cause the ending of the main event match was garbage. We had a lot of garbage wrestling on this card. Blood for the sake of blood, and finisher kickout fest, which I am completely against. Well, sometimes I'm against. You know, it can be done, but this was way too much. When it's 17 kickouts in each match, it's a little overdone. So dud for me. What you giving it?
Well, considering there was a grand total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 matches on the card, we'll round that up to 10 because I liked about 3.5 of them. I'll go 4 out of 10 to be generous, but
You're not gonna count the pre-show with ROH talent?
oh God, you know what? I'd give it the extra half star for involving Big Boom AJ, but as we all remember, if you go to, or as we all know, if you go to a restaurant and you get a good meal and you get a good appetizer and you get some good drinks and you get that dessert, and that dessert is the worst thing you've ever had in your life, you're going to remember that dessert because it was the last thing, it was the last taste left in your mouth from that establishment. And that's the way I feel about this pay-per-view. The ending match was so bad that it just outweighs a lot of the other good to decent things like Omega and Takeshita, which is my best match.
You went out to Outback. You got a bloomin' onion, Micah. You got a bourbon bacon burger. And then for dessert, they brought you out a steaming turd. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, basically. It might be worse than a turd.
Okay. All right.
Well, anyways, we went very long, so we'll rush to get you out of here. Thanks for listening. Check out our socials, link in the description of this episode. Thank you guys for all the support. And as always, take care of yourself and have a good one.